Welcome to Friday Night Baseball presented by Jeep. The New York Mets take on the Atlanta Braves here at Turner Field in Atlanta, Georgia. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico. Over 75 years of savings and service. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Citi, preferred card of the New York Mets. By Hyundai. Hyundai invites you to get in your comfort zone with the most advanced Elantra yet. Visit your Hyundai dealer today. And by Verizon. Don't miss a moment of Mets baseball on the largest, most reliable 4G LTE network, only from Verizon. Well, beautiful, hot Atlanta, Georgia. As you can see, the varsity, if you want to really go to a great greasy spoon, it's about 95 degrees today. If you want to go to Centennial Park and maybe get a little water. And you can see right there in the parking lot, they still have the wall that symbolizes the fence at Fulton County Stadium. Hi, I'm Ron Darling, alongside my partner Keith Hernandez. You know, the Mets really wish they had taken the road less traveled this year. It really has been tough on the road. Their record is 10-21. They've only won 3 of their last 16. I was talking to Terry Collins today asking, is there anything you can do? He said, we're trying to take smaller, less batting practice, telling the guys to come to the park a little later. But Keith, you played on teams that have struggled on the road. Is there anything you can do?
Well, you know, there's one thing that's always a home advantage when you for the home team. When you're the road team, you don't bat last. You got the home crowd behind you. Those are all factors that come into play in a ball club. What's unusual about this club, it's basically the same group. This was a team a couple years ago we were always saying they couldn't win at home at Citi Field. Well, now they've overcome that, and it seems now the coin has flipped and they're struggling on the road. Why? I don't have the answers, but I will say this. They've got a pitching staff that keeps them in the ballgame, and that's why they're on top right now. And they've got the big 3 going in this series. And it reminds me of the times when you'd go into the Los Angeles Dodgers or into the Houston Astros. You wouldn't even bother to look at the starting 4 or 3 in that rotation because you knew you were up against 3 tough pitchers, and the Mets certainly have that.
And you know what's great about tonight on Friday night here? It's the 27th birthday of Jacob deGrom, who's pitching. And of all the pitchers, he has been the toughest for the Mets. He is going through a stretch right now that is almost unprecedented. If you look back almost a year ago, there's only one pitcher, Clayton Kershaw, that has a better ERA than Jacob deGrom. He has been outstanding. And for the Braves, Matt Wisler has been unbelievable in that this is going to be his major league debut. Can you imagine that? He's a guy that pitched in Gwinnett. He was pretty good down there. He's a guy that pitched a lot of complete games. So when we come back next, it'll be the New York Mets against the Atlanta Braves. Fans, our first post-game concert of the season is on Saturday, June 27th, when the Mets play the Reds, featuring legendary classic rock artist Steve Miller Band. It's all presented by Pepsi, and it's all included in the price of your ticket. Purchase tickets online at Mets.com/concerts. So it'll be the Mets and the Braves here as Jacob deGrom will try to go for his 8th win. Imagine how he must be feeling as he grabs that baseball to get ready to face the Mets. And here's the Mets Geico starting lineup. Really the only change is Ruben Tejada is hitting in that second slot, and Kevin Plawecki will be doing the catching today for the Mets. Curtis Granderson stepping in, leading off here for the Mets this evening.
Curtis had a rough run last night, and there's the starting pitcher, RJ.
Yeah, those are the Jeep numbers for Matt Wisler. Those are down in Gwinnett. 12 starts, he was 3-4, 49 Ks and 65 innings pitched.
0 for 4 last night for Curtis with three punches. A tough night. A knuckleballer, and obviously the knuckleball gave Curtis fits.
You know, Keith, last night we talked a little bit about facing the knuckleball and how sometimes it can put you in a little bit of a slump. Well, that's got to work to Wisler's advantage, at least early here against the Mets hitters.
You know, when I was younger, I bought into that. And you always heard that's part of baseball lore, you know. And I know that George Hendrick was our cleanup hitter in the '82 Cardinals. George
White told Whitey, I'm not hitting against Niekro. Don't even bother to put me in there. And Whitey never played against him because he said it would affect him 3 or 4 games down the road.
Again, down with the strikeout is Curtis Granderson as Matt Whistler starts his major league debut with a strikeout of Curtis Granderson. You know, it's got to be interesting if you're a young pitcher and you're coming up to face a guy that you have to know played for the Yankees, had some big years, and you end up with a strikeout on your first AB.
Pretty good curveball.
Well, that's what they say about Whistler, is the how it comes up. Whistler's got a pretty good fastball, doesn't throw it over 95, in the 92 range. Good breaking ball, good changeup. Ruben so far has solidified that third base spot with David Wright gone.
Indefinitely.
Right. Good hitting by Tejada on that first pitch. Line drive to center field for a base hit.
Well, we're seeing a lot more of the Mets attacking first pitch, which was a taboo early last year. And we'll take a quick look, as we always do, which is nothing new. Of course, like Brave defense, Cameron Maybin in center field having a great year. Yuri Perez out in left, a recent call-up, getting the start, second start. Kelly Johnson first. Of course, the big bat, Freddie Freeman, sprained his wrist and has missed a couple games. And he's day-to-day. They're hopeful that he'll be in the lineup tomorrow. Mets are not.
Well, that's the one thing you got to know as Whistler pours in a strike to Lucas Duda. If you're facing a pitcher in his major league debut, you've got to figure the first pitch, at least the first time through the lineup, is going to be a fastball. None of the hitters have seen him. Terry Collins said his hitting coach Kevin Long did not have a lot of tape on him. Only the younger players who maybe faced him in the minor leagues would know.
Well, you know the old saying with Ted Williams, he used to drive his number 1 and 2 hitters crazy with the Red Sox because it was a new pitcher. He'd want to know, what do he throw? And Ted, it just wasn't, did he throw hard? How's his breaking ball? He wanted to know precisely everything, movement, speed. And there's Lucas's problem right there. 87-mile-an-hour sinker out of the strike zone. Watch where this ball starts. Strike, and then it's not a strike. And he hasn't been laying off that pitch. He's getting back to the old ways. He's got to learn to lay off. Instead of being 1 and 2, he'd be 2 and 1.
Tejada with the small lead at first base. Fastball drilled to left field by Duda, but right at Yuri Perez in left field. And he makes the catch for the second out here in the first inning.
Well struck by Lucas. And I think all you folks at home that are big Met fans, we know enough about Turner Field and how hard it is for this ball club to win here. But this is one of the bigger ballparks in baseball. It's pretty fairly huge. 390 in right center field, 380 in left center field, 335 down the lines. It's a big ballpark. You got to get it out of here. Hit it to get it out of here.
Michael Cuddyer fouls one foul down the left field line past third base. I think hitters say that big ballparks you really have to connect to hit them out, and pitchers call ballparks like this fair. Two different ways to look at it.
So my approach would be in this ballpark. I'm going to hit line drives. And if I hit a home run here, it's a mistake. I mean, it's 390 in right center field. That's a long way. I remember the Astrodome was 396 in the gas. Remember, Ron?
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Again, fair by my estimation. Pretty good move there by Whistler at first base. Krasinski, the veteran behind the plate, which should help Whistler. Another fastball in, as they have been pounding Michael Cuddyer in with that running fastball. Wilmer Flores on deck. Curveball up high. Cuddyer up in the count.
It has been a struggle for Mike He just hasn't been able to get it going. A lot of starts and stops. It's been pretty much the case in this lineup.
One surprising thing about Cuddyer are the number of strikeouts that he has. Never thought of him as a strikeout hitter. Again, swinging through the fastball there to even the count. Whistler so far has a little more on the fastball than I thought. Breaking ball hammered down the third base side. Chris Johnson with the play and the throw for the third out here. Tejada with the base hit, but the Mets don't score here in the top of the first. The biggest omission, Freddie Freeman not playing. That's got to be great for the Mets and Jacob deGrom. You see his record. It's hard to say, but he's pitched better. The cheap numbers, pitched better than that 7-4 record. Low ERA, 90 punch outs, and only 17 walks.
Remember, he started out a little bit of a struggle in April, but he righted that ship after 3 starts. There's a good breaking ball for a strike. And deGrom may be the diamond out of this whole group that may be the big one. I mean, he is just incredibly poised and advanced.
Well, it's interesting you use that word poised. You know, it's his birthday today. He's 27, a year older than Harvey, a few years older than the others. But there's a maturity level that's above his experience on the mound. Sometimes you can't tell whether he's winning by 4 runs or very rarely losing by 4 runs.
And the thing we all look for, which the computer can't tell you, is that he's got guts.
He's got a big heart. And we were impressed with Jace Peterson, who had a 3-run home run off Dylan G in that series back in New York. Starts off with a walk here.
That was close.
He's the T-Mobile ERA leader since June 19th of last season. And I mentioned that Kershaw was before deGrom. It's not true. deGrom has taken over the lead at 2.15, 2.18 for Kershaw. The surprise there is Edison Volquez for Kansas City, who has turned his career around the last 2 seasons.
The most important, and those stats are wonderful, and they go back a year or half a year following the prior season. But to me, the most important statistics are this season, the present.
Fly ball by Maben to right field. Back is Granderson, but it looks like he'll have room, and he makes the catch. Tagging is Peterson, but Granderson gets it in quick enough to stop Peterson at first base.
Well, they're always going to be looking, when you're a base runner, to take an extra base on Curtis. Hasn't got a strong arm. And remember, we mentioned earlier, this is a big ballpark, and right field is a lot bigger than left field. Left center field is 380, right center field is 390, so Curtis has got a lot of territory to cover out there.
Yeah, not easy to play that one in the sun, but he was ready, and he got that ball back in quickly as Kelly Johnson, who's hurt the Mets this year, batting in the 3-hole. I'd have to assume on his birthday, Jacob deGrom, who grew up in the middle of Florida, sure has lots of family here to watch him pitch and help him celebrate his birthday. Peterson with a big lead at first.
Good slider.
deGrom just has an arm action that you don't see very often, folks. You watch almost all the Mets pitchers, and they all have different styles, but he has an extremely long arm action, and that's what where he gets his power. It's like a windmill.
Well, Kelly Johnson had a nice career. I've always liked his swing. He could always run. Came up with the Braves in 05. Went to Arizona, Toronto, Tampa Bay Yankees, Boston, Baltimore last year. 3 teams that year. He bounced around the American League. And now he's back home with his Atlanta Braves. Had a 26 home run season at Arizona in 11. That was his best year. But not a home run hitter, a line drive hitter.
That slider in on the hands Fisted out to center field. Second out there caught by Lagares.
And we'll take a look at the Metsy defense. That's always brought to you by Lexus. Lagares, we're a little bit concerned about Juan with his arm. He's got issues with his elbow. Herrera at second base has been spectacular defensively. Plawecki gets to start, gives d'Arnaud a rest. We've talked about they're not going to play d'Arnaud every day. He missed a lot of the season. They're going to ease him back in.
Well, they spent a lot of money on their cleanup hitter, Nick Markakis. First pitch hitting, but lined right to Ruben Tejada for the third out as DeGrom gets through that inning. Scoreless here at the end of one. John Schuerholz.
He was the architect of all those glory years of the Braves under Bobby Cox.
And how about Kansas City? Did pretty good over there also.
Yes, he did.
He reminds me of the modern day version of Frank Cashen. Took a couple organizations all the way. Ruben Tejada up here in the top of the sixth. I mentioned the pitch count of Whistler because this is the ball club. The Braves have had a hard time getting some starting pitching to go deep into ball games. We explained last weekend when they played at Citi Field how their bullpen has struggled because they've had to go to it early and often. Whistler's trying to go deep in this game.
Well, they got a couple guys at the end there that are decent. Massett.
Yeah, Johnson and Grilli. Massett's in the seventh. Johnson in the eighth and Grilli in the ninth if everything works perfect for the Braves.
So if you get in that middle, it's you find the gasoline depot there.
Cashen and Schuerholz. I mentioned Schuerholz, modern day Frank Cashen. They both started at Baltimore. Frank was a real renaissance man, though. A writer. He had done just about every single job you could have in baseball.
Ran the racetrack in
That's
Baltimore.
Right. That's the first breaking ball we've seen from Whistler that missed on the inside corner. Or missed inside. A lot of composure for this young kid, but you know, when you throw 5 scoreless, you're going to have more composure than when you have men on base. Here's a fastball laced by Tejada to deep left field. It's over the head of Perez, who plays it one hop off the left field wall. Struggles to throw that ball into the second base, and Tejada leads off the sixth with a double.
Well, Tejada has hit some balls off the wall here in this road trip. And that's going to be his best bolt right there. That ball's crushed.
That's one of those where you say a little man hit it, because he hit that about as good as he can hit it. And this diamond that I said was fair, you said was very deep, kept that ball from being a home run. Well, you don't want Lucas Duda certainly to ground out to the second baseman to get Ruben over, but you need to get Ruben over in this scoreless game. You'd rather get him in. Ball laced by Duda to right field. That'll get him over. Markakis makes the play, but by the time he throws it in, Tejada from second to third base. Let's go to Doug Williams in the studio for a game break, brought to you by Honda. So you're telling me that Jeter and A-Rod's 3,000th hit was a home run? Whoa. Well, it's a hard call. I mean, you and I could sit up here and talk 2 hours about it, but you got to say congratulations. 3,000 hits is amazing. Infield's in here. with Cuddyer up. Ground ball over the head of Chris Johnson. That's going to score the Mets run. Base hit for Michael Cuddyer. Had infield in just enough for Cuddyer to jump all over that first pitch and bounce it over the head of Johnson.
Well, leadoff double due to a productive out, advancing the runner, and there's a big chop right there. Big break for the Mets. You take the lead. So there's only 3 players that have 600 home runs and 3,000 hits, and that
I know the other two,
Hank and Willie.
I almost forgot Wade Boggs' 3,000th hit was also a home run. That's pretty amazing. That's childlike stuff where you, boy, if I ever get a 3,000th hit, I want it to be a home run. Ground ball to Chris Johnson, who makes a fine play. Can they turn it? Yes, they do. Wow. What a defensive play by the team now with 76 double plays, the Atlanta Braves. But the Mets get a run and take the lead here in the middle of the 6th. Andrelton Simmons leads off for the Braves. First pitch breaking ball swung through from Simmons, and Sean Gilmartin from the left side and Bobby Parnell from the right side up in the Mets bullpen. I'd like to see that. DeGrom standing up Simmons through a slider that he was all over, leaning over the plate. So what does he counter with? Fastball inside the bait. Move him off the plate. Breaking ball hit hard by Simmons to left center field. It stays in the ballpark, but one hops the wall, and Cuddyer gets it in. Leadoff double for Simmons.
Hanging breaking ball here. Stayed in and up. Short hops the wall. Nicely played. Now we'll see how the Braves are going to play this. They got the youngster coming up in Yuri Perez. Will they bunt him over? I'm sure they would. You play for the win at home. What's the rule, Ron? You play for a tie at home?
Play for a tie at home.
Because you are in the bottom half of the order.
That's right. I
play
think,
for the win on the road.
I think you're right that they will bunt here because the pitcher spot coming up next. Pedro Siriaco has come out on deck for the Braves. So the Mets should be playing for the bunt here. I'd have Lucas Duda a little further in.
No fooling. I'd have a lot of people in aggressively.
Now what you have to do here as a defensive team, you've got probably one of the best defensive pitchers in the game. You might be able to get it out at third base if you can keep Simmons close enough and Perez bunts this ball back to DeGrom. That ball will go foul. I think you're right, though, Keith. It's one of those times that you almost take it out of the equation because Simmons has got good speed.
You don't want to put the wheel on here. You're just going to play it straight and force the bunter to bunt it down the third base line to have Ruben at third vacate. Ronnie, you can probably you can talk on this one.
Do I have to? It'll drive me nuts. This is a play that the Mets are just awful at. There's no reason for Ruben Tejada to exit third base. You have one of the best fielding pitchers in the game. You had an out at third, and that's where he wanted to go. But Ruben gets caught in nowhere land, and so DeGrom has to make the play at first base, and luckily he does. It's just I think maybe it's the inexperience of Ruben at third base, but it's a play that cannot be made. In fact, in the future, Terry Collins is going to have to come out and speak to his ball club and tell Ruben, you stay here and wait. Once it gets by DeGrom, then you come in and make the play. Worthen here just giving a blow to DeGrom to let him know what kind of hitter Siriaco is. The play for that, you're taught, is as a pitcher, you deliver the ball, and as you are following through, you bust your behind to the third base line. Because if he bunts the ball like Perez does, you have a simple out at third base.
Well, this would be an ideal time to have Freddie Freeman pinch hit, but he's not available. The infield is in to cut off the run.
Simmons has got some speed at third base, so we've seen him many times on third base coming in against Mets catchers.
2 for 11 as a pinch hitter with 2 RBI.
Very aggressive Siriaco there as he chases that ball away. Well, nice job by Mr. Whistler in his major league debut. 8 innings, 6 hits, a run, no walks, and 2 Ks.
This is when you like to watch a pitcher work, when he needs an out, an extraordinary out.
2 fastballs right on the black by DeGrom. Only the Philadelphia Phillies have a better average from their pinch hitters. Gotten a lot of production from the bench for the Braves.
Big overswing from Siriaco here. This is an at bat where you choke up and you're just trying to get the run in, get a fly ball.
You might see a high fastball here out of the strike zone. Let's see. Yeah, he wants it up.
Very defensive swing right there.
That's Jason Grilli, the veteran, on the left-hand side of your picture, and Brandon Caniff on the right side of your picture. All depends on what happens here with the Siriaco at bat. Which pitcher pitches.
He's got to pitch the waste here in the dirt. See if someone fishes.
Oh, it hit him.
Did he swing?
You have to check the first base umpire, see if he swung.
He's calling it a foul ball.
Okay. Watch this fastball. It's supposed to be away. Rides right in on Siriaco. Shakes his hand as it hits his hand, but obviously to Jerry Lane it hit his bat as well. And no argument for Siriaco either, who's in just outside of the box. He didn't mean to throw that ball inside, but that was a good pitch by DeGrom, because now he can go back outside with that slider off the plate. Good play by
Flores. Beat it. No. Well, there's speed and inexperience. It requires one look. One look. Just too much time. And this is what we talked about, Flores' lack of quickness.
Well,
this hurts. Now, good hustle by Siriaco here.
But I think you're right, Keith. Lack of concentration, too, to know how quick the runner Siriaco is. As Terry Collins comes out after the visit by Worthen, this will be the evening for Jacob DeGrom.
Oh, that's a shame.
Mets defense again not up to snuff as DeGrom departs. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. That's a shame. So quick look back, and that's it. See how he pats the glove, Keith.
Pats the glove and then does the big windup. You catch the ball, have the ball like a catcher by your ear. You give a quick glance over to third, and then you throw from the ear. There's too much of the tapping of the glove, much like David Wright used to do. when he was younger, and then the windup, and that was the difference.
Well, Sean Gilmartin has pitched well of late, which gives him a more highly leveraged place here. You see his numbers, very good. But this is, I think, the first time I've seen him in this kind of situation where the game's on the line.
Yep, it's a big test for him here, and that's how you find out. Peterson hitting .278 against left-handers.
He stays in there pretty good against lefties. Kid's going to be one of the leaders of this ball club at some point. What a shame for the Mets. Two just awful plays defensively could cost him this game. Gilmartin misses with the breaking ball. The thing with Peterson, you have, even if Gilmartin gets a ground ball up the middle, Peterson's got great speed.
And you see the Bravos right there. They've been pretty good. It's been their bullpen has been their nemesis, their Achilles heel.
The strike throwing Gilmartin of late struggling here in this inning. Hidden on the line to center field. It's over the head of Juan Lagares. And the speedy Siriaco is going to score also on the double by Peterson.
Well, Ronnie, 3-1 count. Hitter's in a good position to hit. Gilmartin loves his curveball, but look what he has to throw. Fastball. Too much plate and good hitting, and it gets over the head of Lagares. And the back runner, fabulous job. Never doubted, knew it from the get-go that it was over Lagares' head. And that Siriaco scores easily.
And DeGrom can hardly believe his nightmare 8th inning, as the intentional walk will be put on here to Cameron Maybin.
Well,
I mean, less than 2 outs, RBIs from third, getting the runner in. 87%. That number is usually in the 57%. Peterson is a gritty player who has hurt the Mets.
Well, Met defense has just let this ball club down on this road trip. Glaring yesterday in Toronto, and a critical juncture of the ball game here.
There's Jack Leathersich up in the bullpen for the Mets. You know, Keith, we talk about defense all the time, and it's not like we're talking about physical errors. They can happen. The ball between your legs, you throw the ball away. This is knowing how to execute your defense. Knowing that the pitcher on the mound can make the play at third, knowing that the shortstop needs one look to get the runner out at first. Neither was done, so Terry Collins has to come out to take Gilmartin out. Watch the back runner, Keith.
Well, never a doubt. And that's just good. That's knowing where your outfielders are, and he never hesitated.
This pitching change is brought to you by Empire City. The thing DeGrom did was wrong in that inning. Just some bad defensive plays. And, you know, it's hard to look back at it in retrospect. But at some point, you're saying, I'm taking Jacob DeGrom out of the game and putting Sean Gilmartin in the game when DeGrom really hasn't done anything wrong.
And all DeGrom has done is induced a ground ball that should have been executed, and he's 2 outs Got 2 outs and 1 out away from coming out of the inning. So
right.
a little surprised that he took DeGrom out and brought in the left-hander.
For you folks at home, 97 pitches for DeGrom on the evening. Bobby Parnell with the first pitch, curveball to the pinch hitter Juan Uribe. Remember, Parnell, see his numbers, learn that knuckle curve or one finger curveball, as they sometimes call it, from Isringhausen, Jason Isringhausen, when Isringhausen was in the bullpen for the Mets. That has got to be the worst birthday present Mr. DeGrom has ever gotten in his 27 years. But you continue to throw out these fine young pitchers. You do not execute on the defensive side, and these are the things that happen. Almost exclusively with the breaking ball is Bobby Parnell. Infield is shaded over. Herrera is keeping the runner Peterson close at second. Cameron Maybin's at first. Here with 1 out and a 2-1 count in the bottom of the 8th. The step off from Bobby.
Good break. Sorry, Ron. We're on the same page.
It's almost like Parnell has decided that Uribe is not going to get a fastball to hit. There's the fastball line to center field, but Garris is all over it. But Peterson, good running, gets back to second base. 2 outs here for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th.
Bullet by Uribe, high ball hitter. He's done a heck of a job since coming over here from the Dodgers.
Here comes Dan Worth, and the pitching coach and manager both wearing out a path to the pitching mound. Pretty interesting that he'd have to come out to talk to Bobby Parnell about Nick Markakis. Here's the next SNY game. Mets at the Brewers on Tuesday night. Our coverage begins at 7 p.m. The Dome Stadium, Milwaukee. Will it be open or not? And here's Chris Carlin with his tonight after the postgame. Tiger meltdown continues on day 2 at the U.S. Open. Key question: do you FaceTime with Haji when you're on the road? I've always wondered that.
Well, Chris, it's there's a D in Haji, so I'll just correct you there. Your spelling. As a matter of fact, on occasion, I've been known to FaceTime with Haji.
Isn't Haji the name of your cat?
Yes.
We have to go over this later. 2 outs here for Parnell and the Mets in the bottom of the 8th.
It gets lonely on the road.
We said before, Markakis is a guy, if he's leading off an inning, he'll be very patient. If there's guys on base, first fastball he'll get, he'll let it loose. Hasn't hit a home run to start the season. Over 250 at bats. Ground ball to the left side. What a play by Tejada. He goes to first and no play as the bases now are loaded. It was interesting as Tejada went back on that, Keith. He looked at second base, but Maybin's way too fast, trying to alter it to first and made neither play.
This was a difficult hop for Ruben. Takes the back hop. You're right. He had ideas at second and had no play there. And the Braves are just kind of looking at their speed is making our infield look like it's in slow motion.
Here comes Terry Collins again. After Worthen, he's going to make another call to the bullpen. Righty on righty. Very interesting, but Familia's in the game. Mets losing 2-1 to the Braves in the 8th. Who's been their best pitcher out of the bullpen. I guess, if I think about it, you're thinking if Terry Collins, somehow you got to get this out against Chris Johnson to give your team, which doesn't have the most potent offense, a chance to tie it in the top of the ninth.
Exactly.
Good pitch for a strike there from Familia. In baseball parlance, you'll say in the dugout, let's hit for a half hour. Well, the Braves have hit for 26 minutes.
Well, let's bat around.
I think that's one of the reasons, Keith, for the move to bring in Familia. Two reasons. One, you got to get out of this inning with a score 2-1. And two, even though Jason Grilli has been pretty good, this Braves bullpen has been giving it up all season long.
The only thing that you can question in this inning was taking DeGrom out. And you know, Terry, I think he's a terrific field manager, but it's very rare that I kind of scratch my head on that one, because DeGrom was solid. I mean, he induced the ground ball with the runner on third base. It was muffed by Flores, and DeGrom would have been 1 out away from getting out of that inning.
If I were DeGrom sitting on that bench right now, I would say, why don't you take the fielders out? Don't take me.
It'd be one of those set 'em up Joe games.
Good sinking fastball, but down by Familia. Interesting, you're watching Familia stretch out his quad like there's something wrong with his leg. Don't want to see that. Atlanta, unlike the Mets, 3 for 5 with runners in scoring position.
Big clutch double in this game by Jace Peterson.
Good slider and a strikeout at Chris Johnson. But it was some shoddy defense by the Mets and great pitching by DeGrom. But it was the defense that betrayed him at the end. Flores looks back Simmons, but takes too long to get Siriaco at first base. DeGrom frustrated, then a big, huge double from Chase Peterson that puts the Braves ahead. Kelly Johnson out, Juan Uribe goes in at third base for defense. And their closer, the veteran Jason Grilli, out on the mound, 18 for 20 in save opportunities.
And the young man was looking at a L, looking at a double, the youngster.
In his major league debut. Good breaking ball from Grilli. This is twice now the Braves have come back in a week against the Mets. Fouled straight back by Cuddyer. 15 times this season the Mets have scored 1 run or fewer. They've got 1 run on the board tonight.
Well, the difference in this game and the story is going to be the defense. And the defense on the infield continues to let the team down.
I mean, there was one of those games that you had to almost win 1-0. After the last pitch of the inning, when Familia threw that slider and got Chris Johnson, you can see that he limps off.
A little bit, yes.
And he grimaces and limps off. The pitch before, prior, remember I mentioned that he was stretching his quad or maybe his hamstring. And once he got to the hamstring, of course, and once he got to the dugout, everyone, of course, concerned for their first half MVP.
Good strike.
Yeah, Grilli had that magical year 2 seasons ago for Pittsburgh. He and Melanson were awfully tough at the end of that Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen to go along with Tony Watson and Justin Wilson. Lagares on deck. Last year was a year change for Jason Grilli. He struggled, moved from team to team, but seemed to have found a home here in Atlanta. Well, immediately after the game in our post game, they'll have all the answers. Gary Apple and Nelson Figueroa. They'll try to analyze that 8th inning for you. Flores fouls out to the right side. Johnson runs out of room. It was interesting, Keith, when I got to the American League after being traded, those bunt plays that DeGrom got and Tejada came in, if he had stayed at third, you would have had a play. In the American League, they don't even play it. They want you to just get an out because it's a DH league. There's more runs scored.
Right.
But here in the National League, getting an out at third base on a bunt play is so important, especially in a tight game like the Mets are in.
Good cut. Flores has been having some nice 2-strike at bats. Hanging in there.
When you watch or you listen, folks at home, Jason Grilli, the veteran, sounds like a tennis match breaks out. He is a grunter, a guy who grunts when he lets go of that baseball.
Monica Seles was a big grunter.
Trying to put all his effort into his pitching. And the Braves make a mistake. Ground ball to Uribe, who came in for defense, and he botches to play at third.
Routine.
Simple.
No 2 hands.
No 2 hands, just one.
And see if the Mets can take advantage of this.
Well, the Mets have giveth in the 8th inning. Maybe they can take it away here in the 9th. Bad play by Uribe. Lagares with 2 home runs on the season. 3 home runs, sorry. Mets would love to see his 4th.
Outfield deep, particularly deep in left field. Yuri Perez out there in cow pastures.
He's got good speed, so maybe he can make up for it. But you're right. To the pull size, he's extremely deep. No doubles they're playing.
Gurley's got a nice hard slider. Big gap in left center field. Off the plate, Juan chases. You've got the center fielder and Maben shaded a little bit to the off field, but it leaves a huge left center field gap.
Another good pitch by Gurley as he darts the outside corner to get ahead 1-2. Fastball upstairs. Nice take by Juan Lagares.
They're probably going to set up a little slide ball away here.
We've seen Lagares with 2 strikes, though, be very good when the slider is in the strike zone. Got to count on Gurley missing with that pitch. Flores with a conservative lead at first.
Good eye.
Good eye right off the plate. Good call by Jerry Lane.
Good try by Gurley. Remember, the book on Juan is that he'll chase. So that was a pitch that was there purposefully out of the strike zone to try to get a strikeout.
So you go with the 3-2 slider, Keith, or the fastball?
I don't know. This is your this is your territory, not mine.
A fastball away. Slider again. And this time popped up to center field. Cameron Maben's there for the second out. And Flores still at first base. There'll be a pinch hitter for the Mets now. Daryl Siciliani is coming to the plate. He'll bat for Dilson Herrera.
Got a chance to chat with him in Toronto after he had that start the other night where he struck out 3 times, went 0 for 3. That was the first game of the series. Nice young man. I think he's got a chance to be a very, very good major league player. I like his swing.
He's part of that bench for the Mets that has gotten hot of late. And they need him to get hot right now.
And he's got some pop, and he stays and he hits the ball the other way.
We saw him hit a long home run into the Pepsi porch for his first home run. Here's the defense, Keith.
Very deep, and again a little bit of a shade in center field to the opposite field.
Big swing by Siciliani. No contact.
Threw it by him there.
From up here, it sounds like Gurley is grunting on the fastball, not on the breaking pitches, but certainly can't pick that up as a hitter. Flores has got to try to get a good secondary lead at first. He does not have a lot of speed. He's got to score on a double. Pretty good size lead for Wilmer. Breaking ball up.
If a pitcher's grunting and just say we feel he's just grunting on the fastball, I don't know if that's enough time for a hitter to be able to recognize that. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of crowd noise right now, but it kind of builds up with the pitch.
Another big swing there by Siciliani. No contact. As the Braves are 1 strike away. A.J. calls for the slider. And he gets the strikeout. And the game's over as the Braves come back in the 8th inning to score 2 runs to ruin a great effort by Jacob deGrom. Matt Wisler for the Atlanta Braves in his Major League debut. He gets the win.
Man, the Mets continue to have difficulty here. It's a house of horrors here at Turner Field. But tonight, the Mets gift wrap this win to the Braves. deGrom, a tough, undeserving loser tonight. The misplay, it's not an error on the Mets in the scorebook tomorrow when you read about it in the paper, but a mental error by Flores and a critical out in that 2-run 8th.
Well, here's a Jeep summary for this evening. Braves win 2-1. Losing pitcher is Jacob deGrom. The winning pitcher, Matt Wisler, in his first game, his Major League debut. Tonight's game summary presented by Jeep. You know, extraordinary moments happen every night in baseball, but on one night they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, Tuesday, July 14th on Fox.